Hey guys, Marsengan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so we got the reveal on Twitter for the new Dokkan Fest exclusive coming out on both versions of the game in the next few days. And, you know, no surprise to anybody, it is indeed the Vegeta from the Planet Namek saga with the dirty fireworks super attack. I mean, the hint, as soon as we got that producer letter where it had the thing at the end that said who's next and then fireworks in the background, people's immediate assumption was that it was going to be this guy. I mean, there's a few other things that it could have been, and I said this in the video yesterday, right, where sometimes with these cryptic hints they post, there's not something that comes to mind straight away, but then if it was that thing, you can kind of see afterwards like, oh yeah, that does, I get that, that makes sense. So I saw a few other theories that were interesting, but yeah, this Fireworks Vegeta was kind of the one we all assumed it would be, and it obviously is. So we have his full details here. We're just going to go over them very quickly. I haven't actually read his passive. I've had a quick look at his like leader skill and stuff while we were on stream, but we're going to break down everything that he does here, and I'll give my thoughts on him right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at his details. So his leader skill is Planet Namek Saga, Gifted Warriors, or Inhuman Deeds. So we finally have an Inhuman Deeds 170 leader. So yeah, 3 key 170. Additional HP attack and defense 30% for characters who also belong to the Dragon Ball Seekers or Pure Saiyans category. So that's kind of interesting because Namek Saga, obviously it means the Vegetas and the Gokus. And then, of course, Dragon Ball Seekers, you know, we have characters like the Krillin and Gohan. In fact, I think even some of the Freezers and some of the Freezer Force characters are on Dragon Ball Seekers for Namek Saga. I think the Ginyu Force all are, aren't they? So that's got an interesting selection, at least for the Namek Saga characters. Then Gifted Warriors, obviously that involves pretty much every Vegeta. So that's decent because they'll all be Pure Saiyans, of course, so getting the 200 as well. But then the Inhuman Deeds one is interesting because, like I say, we finally have a 170 lead for Inhuman Deeds. It means there'll be characters like the new Broly, the Nappa and Vegeta, like some of the Saiyan Saga versions of Nappa, Vegeta and stuff like that, Raditz. Actually, no, Raditz isn't on Inhuman Deeds, is he? But like Turles isn't on there. And then when we think about the other Inhuman Deeds characters, like a bunch of the other big villain characters, like they're not on Dragon Ball Seekers or Pure Saiyans. So it's kind of interesting that we finally have an Inhuman Deeds 170 leader, but a lot of the major villain units that are on that category won't be on the 200% lead. They'll just be getting the 170. So certainly an interesting choice with that one, but I mean, you will definitely be able to make a good team with this guy's lead. So it's not like his leader skill is trash, but it's kind of like the same issue that we get with Broly's, right? Where we get these extreme leaders come out who are Saiyans, and then they don't buff all of these other villains like with their leader skill. But still a solid leader skill, should be able to make a good team with him. And so let's see his passive skill. So he has an entrance animation, which gives him 3 key attack and defense 180% for the rest of the battle when facing only one enemy at the start of the character's attacking turn. So that's interesting. It means if there's multiple enemies, he doesn't get his intro buff. So that's interesting, especially with like the 2 newest stages of the Blue Zone, like the final 2 stages for the worldwide, both start you off against multiple enemies. So it means he would get his intro animation when you go into like the second phase, but he'll be weaker in the first part of the fight, which is interesting. So then his base passive is attack and defense 50% per key sphere obtained, up to 500%. That's interesting that he has a cap, although I guess it does kind of make sense. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type AGL excluded to rainbow, so he creates rainbow orbs. Reduced damage received by 30% and chance of evading enemies' attack, including supers, 18% with an AGL orb obtained, or 5 or more orbs obtained. So he only has to get 1 AGL orb to have 30% damage reduction and 18% chance to dodge, or you can get it if you get 5 orbs of any typing. Then he has an additional chance to dodge 30% and an additional damage reduction 18% when attacking, and if HP is 50% or more, launches an additional super attack. So when attacking, he then goes up to, so he's going to have 48% for both. 48% damage reduction, 48% chance to dodge. So that's interesting. And if HP is 50% or more, he gets a guaranteed additional super. If HP is 50% or less at the end of the turn, he gets an additional 50% defense and high chance to crit from the next turn onward. So that means permanently. So that's interesting. So the first time he's on a turn and you've dropped to 50% or less HP, he then gets extra defense and built-in 50% chance to crit from the rest of the battle. That's very interesting. After the character performs a super attack 5 or more times in battle, changes all key spheres to AGL at the start of the character's next attacking turn once only, and for the character's attacking turns going forward, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type, AGL excluded, to AGL. So after he's done 5 supers, you get one turn where you get a full orb field. So not only are you going to get a massive heal, but he's obviously going to get that maximum 500% buff. It's a shame it has a cap, because obviously if he changes the entire orb field, that's 23 orbs. And you only need 10 to get his maximum. But that's going to fill out all the rest of his passive. And then obviously going forward, he then changes a certain type of orbs to AGL and is still changing another type of orb to rainbow. So it's going to be fairly easy to get the 10 orbs you need to get that full 500% buff for him after he's done 5 super attacks. And bear in mind, he is an AGL character, so he will have 5 additional even at 55%. So I mean, he seems very interesting. Strong nuking style character. Interesting that they gave him a cap. But when attacking, he's going to have 48% chance to dodge and 48% damage reduction. So he's not really a slot 1 unit, but certainly interesting. It's strange though, you can see his links here. He has Saiyan Warrior Race, Royal Lineage, Prodigies, Brutal Beatdown, Saiyan Lineage, Prepared for Battle, and then Fierce Battle. He doesn't have Big Bad Bosses, which the Int one that then awakened into the 50% support does have Big Bad Bosses. So it's kind of odd that he doesn't have it. It's just, again, like the Broly situation, where that now means if you're making an Inhuman Deeds team and you're putting on some of these extreme characters that do have Big Bad Bosses, they're not going to get that link from him, which is a little bit disappointing. So then he has an active skill, which is the Dirty Fireworks attack. Can be activated after performing 4 or more super attacks in battle, once only. Remember, obviously, with his passive, as long as you're getting that 1 AGL orb or 5 orbs in total, he does a guaranteed additional super. So this will be available from turn 5 if he's on turn 1, right? Because even with the hidden potential, he'd only do 3 supers in 1 turn. So this will be available on turn 5. It massively raises attack temporarily, does ultimate damage to the enemy, and then attack plus 50% in battle. So that's interesting. So after you use the active skill is an attack, but then he gets a permanent buff for the rest of the battle after you use it. So that's pretty cool. Categories we can see, he's on Namek Saga, Gifted Warriors, Inhuman Deeds, Dragon Ball Seekers, Pure Saiyans, Vegeta Family, and Planetary Destruction. Interesting that he's on Planetary Destruction, considering the whole point is he blows up a person and not a planet, but okay. And then his actual super attack effect, the normal super that he does is the Final Gallic Cannon. Greatly raises attack, which is an infinite stack, raises defense, and causes immense damage to the enemy. So actually they're both infinite stacks, but the attack is greatly and the defense is normal. So not only is he a nuker, but he's an infinite stacking unit as well. So that is certainly very interesting. He seems like he would be very good. Obviously he's not like, I think my initial impression just from reading his details, I'd have to see the numbers, because with nuking units it can be difficult sometimes to know exactly how good they're going to be. But like, he doesn't strike me as, he's the new best TUR in the game, but he definitely seems like he could be very strong. And then he also has a banner unit Kui, which of course is hilarious because, he's the guy that gets killed by the Dirty Fireworks. So he's the banner unit. He's an extreme int character. He leads Planet Namek Saga for 130, which is a typical side banner unit leader skill. He gets key 3, attack and defense 150, high chance to dodge. HP is 50% or less when receiving an attack. He gets an additional 20% chance to dodge. So that can activate mid-turn as well. So if you're 50% or less HP, he has a 70% chance to dodge. Additional attack and defense 150 and chance to dodge 20% when attacking, and if the target enemy is in attack down or defense down status. So that means he would have 90% chance to dodge if you're at 50% less HP and they are attack or defense down. Great chance of launching an additional super attack. Evades enemy attacks, including supers, and performs a crit within the turn if HP is 50% or less at the start of the turn once only. Foresees enemy super attacks at the start of the attacking turn when there's another Namek Saga ally in the same turn. So that's pretty cool. If you have a Namek Saga ally, he has a guaranteed scouter with no other condition, which that's probably going to be the only team that you're going to run him on, right? So with a Namek Saga ally, he has a scouter. Well, the first time you get to 50% or less HP, he has a guaranteed dodge on that turn, and the guaranteed crit as well. And then obviously any other turn, as we saw higher above, if it's 50% or less, he gets extra dodge chance. But the first time it happens, he has guaranteed dodge and guaranteed crit. Now his links are kind of suck. He has like Coward, Frieza's Army, Frieza's Minion, which I don't know if I've even seen that link before. I've seen Frieza's Army before, but Frieza's Minion. So he's got a terrible link set. He's got Thirst for Conquest, Brutal Beatdown, and Fierce Battle at least, I guess. And his super attack... he's on Planet Namek Saga, Terrifying Conquerors, and Space Traveling Warriors, which is pretty bad. His super attack is greatly raised attack and defense in one turn, supreme damage to the enemy, and lowers attack and defense. So, I mean, he could be okay on the teams that he is on, but he doesn't seem that great. When we look at banner units like the Tech Evil Boo, the Physical Gotenks, AGL King Vegeta, those are banner units that immediately on release like seemed really, really strong. This guy doesn't seem that crazy. I mean, getting guaranteed dodge on that one turn that you're at 50% or less HP, I guess that's cool. But, like, he's not providing any support to the team. So, realistically, he feels like a unit that's just not going to be that great and that we're not really going to run. But, yeah, so, I mean, we can check out the animations here at the end as well. I will pause the OST here quickly and then let these play out for at the end of the video here. I do like the distraction technique, it's good. Then we've got Vegeta's intro.
You're in for a treat. You see, I managed to learn a little new trick during my time on Earth, like how to control my power level.
And then, yeah, obviously this is his normal TUR super attack. It's definitely very cool. And then we have the active skill.
You're not going anywhere. Dirty fireworks.
So yeah, there you go. The animations look pretty crisp. He seems good. Like I say, he seems very powerful. Not, you know, a must summon, which I guess is good, especially for global players after the absolute onslaught of banners that we've had recently. I would say I feel fairly comfortable saying that he's a pretty easy skip for a lot of the player base, but I will do a more detailed video, summon or skip, once we know more about the banner. We'll get some more information once we get the data download. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the Fireworks Vegeta down below in the comment section. What do you think of him? Will you be summoning for him? Let me know down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out all the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.